Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayan Namaskritti Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiri Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistaki. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 23, Devakti's Lamentation, text number 44 onwards. Vibhajyanavadhatmanam manamim surat utsakam ramam nirmayan reme varshappugan muhurtavat. After coming back to his hermitage, he divided himself into 9 personalities, just to give pleasure to Devhuti, the daughter of Manu, who was eager for sex life. In that way, he enjoyed with her for many, many years, which passed just like a moment. Here, the daughter of Swayambhuva Manu, Devhuti, is described as Surat Utsaka. After traveling with the husband all over the universe in Mount Meru and the beautiful gardens of the heavenly kingdoms, she naturally became sexually stimulated, and in order to satisfy her sexual desire, Kardamuni expanded himself into 9 forms. So Kardamuni took her all over the universe in that beautiful planet or mansion that was flying, and heavenly kingdoms, especially the beautiful gardens of the heavenly kingdoms. So looking at the heavenly kingdoms and people enjoying over there, naturally she got stimulated to enjoy in that way. And the Kardamuni expanded himself into 9 forms. So a yogi can expand himself into 9 forms at the most. Just like Narad Muni, when he went to Dwarka to see Lord Krishna, and now Lord Krishna had expanded himself in 108 forms with these different queens in different palaces. So by Krishna's mercy, Narad Muni could also expand himself in 16,108 forms. So he could enter each and every palace separately at the same time. But here Kardamuni, on his own, he expanded himself into 9 forms, 9 exact forms. So now something Prabhupada is writing, it's Prabhupada's knowledge, Prabhupada's realizations, whatever he has studied or realized. I'm just going to repeat whatever he says. I don't know. Instead of 1, he became 9, and 9 persons had sexual intercourse with Devhuti for many, many years. It is understood that the sexual appetite of a woman is 9 times greater than that of a man. That is clearly indicated here. Otherwise, Kardamuni would have had no reason to expand himself into 9. Here is another example of yogic power. As the Supreme Personality of Godhead can expand himself in millions of forms, a yogi can also expand him up to 9 forms, but not more than that. Another example is that of Sobhri Muni. He also expanded himself into 8 forms. But however powerful a yogi may be, he cannot expand himself into more than 8 or 9 forms. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, however, can expand himself into millions of forms, Ananta Rupa, innumerable, countless forms. As stated in the Brahma Samhita, no one can compare to the Supreme Personality of Godhead by any conceivable energetic manifestation of power. So Kardamuni, because he was bound to satisfy his wife, to please his wife, so he did whatever it takes. But Prabhupada finally comes to that Supreme Personality of God, and nobody can match Krishna. In Dwarka only, he expanded himself in 16,108 forms. Otherwise, he can expand himself into millions and millions of forms. And every form will have same potency. And another thing here is, when Krishna expands himself into different forms, every form will do different activity at the same time. Means every form is full in itself. But when yogi like Karda Muni or Sabri Muni expands, then every form does the same thing. It's like you can say, mirror image. It's like an image of the original. So image will do exactly what the original does. But when Krishna expands, then every form is completely perfect, completely pure. So not that relying on the original image to do, or original form to do everything. No. So that's another difference. Text 45. Tasmin viman utkrishtam shayyam ratikarim shuta na chabudhyattam kalam patya pichin sangata. In that aerial mansion, Devhuti, in the company of her handsome husband, situated on an excellent bed that increased sexual desires, could not realize how much time was passing. Sex indulgence is so enjoyable for materialistic people that when they engage in such activities, they forget how time is passing. Saint Kardam and Devhuti in the sex indulgence also forgot how time was passing by. Evam yoganubhavena dampatyo ramamayo shatam yatiyu sharada kamalal sayor manak. While the couple who eagerly longed for sexual pleasure were thus enjoying themselves by virtue of mystic powers, 100 autumns passed like a brief span of time. Means 100 years passed like that. Tasyamadhat retastam bhavyannatmananatmavit nodha vidhaya rupam swam sarva sankalpa vidvibhu. The powerful Karda Muni was a knower of everyone's heart, and he could grant whatever one desired. Knowing the spiritual soul, he regarded her as half of his body. Dividing himself into 9 forms, he impregnated Devhuti with 9 discharges of semen. Since Karda Muni could understand that Devhuti wanted many children, at the first chance he begot 9 children at one time. He is described as Vibhu, the most powerful master. By his yogic power, he could at once produce 9 daughters in the womb of Devhuti. So he had 9 daughters at the same time. Atah sa sushve sadyo Devhuti striya praja sarvastash charu sarvangyo lohito palgandhya. Immediately afterward, on the same day, Devhuti gave birth to 9 female children, all charming in every limb and fragrant with the scent of the red lotus flower. See, on the same day she gave birth. It wasn't like she had to wait for 9 months. That was the potency of Karda Muni. And look at all the female children who were born, all charming in every limb and fragrant with the scent of red lotus flower. Devhuti was too sexually excited, and therefore she discharged more ova, and 9 daughters were born. It is said in the Smriti Shastra as well as in the Ayurveda that when the discharge of the male is greater, male children are begotten. But when the discharge of the female is greater, female children are begotten. It appears from the circumstances that Devhuti was more sexually excited, and therefore she had 9 daughters at once. All the daughters, however, were very beautiful, and their bodies were nicely formed. Each resembled a lotus flower and was fragrant like a lotus. And all these 9 daughters, they were all married to different sages. Patimsa pravrajishyantam tada lakshyo shiti bahi smaimana viglavena hridena viduyata. When she saw her husband about to leave home, she smiled externally, but at heart she was agitated and distressed. Kardamuni finished his household affairs quickly by his mystic power. The building of the castle in the air, traveling all over the universe with his wife in the company of beautiful girls, and begetting of children were finished. And now, according to his promise to leave home for his real concern of spiritual realization after impregnating his wife, he was about to go away. Seeing her husband about to leave, Devhuti was very disturbed, but to satisfy her husband, she was smiling. The example of Kardamuni should be understood very clearly. A person whose main concern is Krishna consciousness, even if he is entrapped in household life, should always be ready to leave household enticement as soon as possible. See, this is the character of the consciousness of Kardamuni. He had the beautiful aerial mansion, beautiful wife, wonderful maidservants, and now 9 daughters, beautiful girls he had, but he was going to leave right away. Because he had fulfilled his promise to Devhuti, he gave her the children, gave her the progeny, and gave her the mansion. So whatever financial security he wanted, she had. And Kardamuni was ready to leave. And this is what Prabhupada is saying. A person should be ready to leave household enticement as soon as possible. See, Kardamuni having so much yogic power, but still his heart was in the meditation and in spiritual realization. He was not at all attached or conditioned by all he had. So very ideal character. But Devhuti, Mother Devhuti, on the other hand, of course, she is also self-realized soul. I cannot say she is not. But she'll remind him of another duty. So, so externally she is smiling, but at heart, she was agitated and distressed. लिखन्ति अधोमुखी भूमिं पदानखमणिश्रिया वाचलतां वाचं निरुध्याश्रुकलां शनैः. She stood and scratched the ground with her foot, which was radiant with the luster of her gem-like nails. Her head bent down, she spoke in slow yet charming accents, suppressing her tears. Devhuti was so beautiful that her toe-nails appeared just like pearls. And as she scratched the ground, it appeared as if pearls had been thrown on the ground. When a woman scratches the ground with her foot, it is a sign that her mind is very disturbed. Well, not just she scratches the ground, now she tramples on the ground. These signs are sometimes exhibited by the gopis before Krishna. When the gopis came in the dead of night, and Krishna asked them to return to their homes, the gopis also scratched the ground like this because their minds were very disturbed. So Mother Devhuti's mind is very disturbed and she started speaking to Kardamuni. Devhuti Ruvacha Sarvam Tad Bhagwan Mayam Upovaha Pratishrutam Athapi Me Prapannaya Abhayam Datum Arhasi. Shri Devhuti said, My Lord, you have fulfilled all the promises you gave me, yet because I am your surrendered soul, you should give me fearlessness or two. Devhuti requested her husband to grant her something without fear. As a wife, she was fully surrendered soul to her husband, and it is a responsibility of the husband to give his wife fearlessness. How one awards fearlessness to his subordinate is mentioned in the 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. One who cannot get free from the clutches of death is dependent, and he should not become a spiritual master, nor a husband, nor a kinsman, nor a father, nor a mother, etc. It's the duty of the superior to give fearlessness to the subordinate, to take charge of someone, therefore, either as father, mother, spiritual master, relative, or husband. one must accept the responsibility to give his ward freedom from the fearful situation of material existence. Material existence is always fearful and full of anxiety. Devhuti is saying, you have given me all sorts of material comforts by your yogic power. And since you are now prepared to go away, you must give me your last award so that I may get free from this material conditional life. See, Mother Devhuti knows what's a real, what is of real value in life. So she is asking for fearlessness. Fearlessness wasn't like she needs emotional, financial, physical security. She wanted spiritual security as well. That was the main concern of her. And fifth canto shloka that Prabhupada is referring to, it says, one should not become a spiritual master, a husband, a father, mother, or a relative, or demigod, if he cannot liberate his dependents. And now Kardamuni has become a husband. So it's his duty to liberate his dependent wife. Of course, the wife was also ready. It's not like wife is not ready, then cannot do anything. But at least one should try. As a parent also, one should try to make the kids Krishna conscious. If they don't become that, it's up to them, but one has to try. Brahmandohitridbhistubhyam vimrikyah pataya samaha kaschit syanme vishokaya tvai pravrajate vanam. My dear Brahman, as far as your daughters are concerned, they will find their own suitable husbands and go away to their respective homes. But who will give me solace after your departure as a sannyasi? It is said that the father himself becomes the son in another form. The father and the son are therefore considered to be non-different. A widow who has her son is actually not a widow, but she has a representative of her husband. Similarly, Devhuti is indirectly asking Bharata Muni to leave a representative so that in his absence she might be relieved of her anxieties by a suitable son. A householder is not expected to remain at home for all his days. After getting his sons and daughters married, a householder can retire from household life, leaving his wife in charge of the grown-up sons. That is the social convention of the Vedic system. Devhuti is indirectly asking that in his absence from home, there be at least one male child to give her relief from her anxieties. This relief means spiritual instruction. Relief does not mean material comforts. So in the first part of purport, Prabhupada is writing that son is a representative of father, of a male person. So as soon as the kids get married and settle down, the husband, at least the husband should leave the house. Because ladies are not supposed to go through that many austerities in the forest or other places. So they can remain at home, but the husband should leave. Idea is leave not just to go for some sightseeing or some vacation. Idea is to go to the place of pilgrimage and engage in self-realization. Because throughout that many years, the husband and wife, they both work very hard to raise children and get the home made and get everybody settled down. But now it's time, towards the last part of life, it's a time for self-realization. But somehow our system has become that we just get more and more entangled as the life goes on. The problem is because there is no training when we are young. It's not that the spiritual life starts when we are 60 or 70. That time we cannot, hardly anybody can take up. The training should be done from when we are young so that uh, the spark is there. And if somebody is entangled in the household life, so he can really pick it up later on. But the idea is it should be there. Not that one thinks, oh, I can pick it up when I'm 60, 70. That time, conditioning mind will be so conditioned. There's no way one can pick it up. It's very, very difficult. Rarely somebody can. Otherwise, it's very difficult. And here Mother Devhuti is asking for a son because she wants self-realization also. Relief does not mean material comforts. Material comforts will end with the end of the body, but spiritual instructions will not end. It will go on with the spirit soul. Instruction in spiritual advancement is necessary, but without having a worthy son, how could Devhuti advance in spiritual knowledge? It's a duty of the husband to liquidate his debt to his wife. The wife gives her sincere service to the husband, and he becomes indebted to her because one cannot accept service from his subordinate without giving him something in exchange. The spiritual master cannot accept service from a disciple without awarding him spiritual instruction. That is the reciprocation of love and duty. Thus, Devhuti reminds her husband, Gardam Muni, that she has rendered him faithful service. Even considering the situation on the basis of liquidating his debt towards his wife, he must give a male child before he leaves. Indirectly, Devhuti requests her husband to remain at home a few days more, or at least until a male child is born. So Mother Devhuti also wants spiritual realizations, and she's requesting her husband to give her a male child. Etavatalam kalena vyatikrantena me prabhu indriyartha prasangena parityakta paratmanaha. Until now, we have simply wasted so much of our time in sense gratification, neglecting to cultivate knowledge of the Supreme Lord. Human life is not meant to be wasted like that of the animals in sense gratificatory activities. Animals always engage in sense gratification, eating, sleeping, faring, and mating. But that is not the engagement of the human beings. Although because of the material body, there is need of sense gratification according to a regulative principle. So in effect, the devotee said to her husband, so far we have these daughters and we have enjoyed material life in the aerial mansion, traveling all over the universe. These boons have come by your grace, but they will all have been for sense gratification. Now there must be something for my spiritual advancement. So Mother Devhuti is lamenting, that's a chapter name, Devhuti's Lamentation, that she wasted her time in sense gratification. Of course, it's not completely true because in the beginning or just after marriage, she served her husband like anything. And she basically did not even care for her in service of her husband, in the service of her husband who was engaged in meditation and self-realization. So, but because after that they enjoyed profusely, and that's what the Mother Devhuti is lamenting. Then why did we do that? But now I want to know more. I want to make advancement. So you please make the arrangement. Indriyartheshu sanjantya prasangastvai me kritaha ajanantya parambhavam tathapi yastu bhayaya me. Not knowing your transcendental situation, I have loved you while remaining attached to the objects of the senses. Nonetheless, let the affinity I have developed for you rid me of all fear. Devhuti is lamenting her position. As a woman, she had to love someone. Somehow or other, she came to love Gardam Muni, but without knowing of his spiritual advancement. Kartamuni could understand Devhuti's heart. Generally, all women desire material enjoyment. They are called less intelligent because they're mostly prone to material enjoyment. Devhuti laments because her husband had given her the best kind of material enjoyment, but she did not know that he was so advanced in spiritual realization. Her plea was that even though she did not know the glories of her real great husband, because she had taken shelter of him, she must be delivered from material entanglement. Association with the great personality is most important. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, Lord Chaitanya says that sadhu sangha, the association of a great saintly person, is very important. Because even if one is not advanced in knowledge, simply by associating with a great saintly person, one can immediately make considerable advancement in spiritual life. As a woman, as an ordinary wife, Devhuti became attached to Kardamuni in order to satisfy her sense enjoyment and other material necessities. But actually, she associated with the great personality. Now she understood this and she wanted to utilize the advantage of the association of her great husband. So, of course, Prabhupada explains that she lamented her position, that she don't take association seriously, the position of her great husband. Well, on the other hand, also, she she served her husband, who was engaged in all the spiritual activities, and served him selflessly. So, undoubtedly, she had advanced already. Association of Kardamuni and the service she rendered, she was already advanced. Maybe this is because of her humility she is lamenting like that. But it's also practical that Kardamuni gives her his son because the girls will be married off, they go away, then Devhuti will be left alone. So she's lamenting and she's asking Kardamuni for a male son. And we'll stop here. Rest will cover tomorrow. See anybody has any questions or comments? Okay, so we'll stop here. You all have a wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Thank you.